I'm like, who are you?
All right, it's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Let's take a quick roll call. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We'll start over there with Crystal Pilkington,
Here.
Angie Curley,
Here.
Christy Rushing,
Here.
James Taylor,
Here.
and Luke Heidhold,
Here.
and myself, Carlos Lopez, is all in attendance. Very good. Okay, so we'll move into the director's report. Melissa?
That's me. Sorry, I didn't look at the agenda. Okay. You all have my report in your packet. I'll just briefly go through it really quickly. So we are finishing up soccer right now. We had 250 athletes ranging from 4U to 14U in this division. There were 12 less than last year, which isn't a huge number. And then we've had one rain out, which was the first weekend, and the makeup date is set for May 9th. It would have been this weekend, but there is a home softball tournament and prom. And so my refs, I didn't have any. So I couldn't have the game. So we're doing it May 9th. Summer ball, we just wrapped up registration. So I have 370 athletes registered for the 2026 season. That is up from last year, about 20-ish. Draft schedule for tomorrow. It was delayed a week due to meeting rooms availability at the Armory. So we're running a week late, so coaches are going to have a quick turnaround time contacting their players and starting practices immediately because practices start in May and games will follow in June. Grounds and satellite parks, Al Brown. Oh, that shouldn't say Al Brown. I was thinking of the whole park. Flood damage, we have wrapping up the FEMA project, working on the riprap for the creek and the playground fencing project. The bid approval the bid packet had been approved and they are in the process of building that fence right now. It all has to be completed before July 1st, like a week or so before July 1st, so we can get all the paperwork turned in for reimbursement. But that is in process and on the way. Our park use I just kind of lumped it all in, but it's Salem High School. Softball is currently using the blue field for practices and home games. They just had a pretty successful tournament there this last weekend. The SHS Softball Booster Club is using the concession stand also during those home games. High school tennis team is currently using our tennis courts for practices and home games. And then currently on my calendar, I have several schools or classrooms that have checked in and reserved dates for park days. I encourage schools, if they are coming to visit the park, to kind of give me a call or heads up. That way we don't have multiple schools at the location at the same time. That way it's less confusing for the leaders that are there that day. We also have several travel teams that are using our fields at Al Brown and at the Salem City Park for practices. We've had a couple of reservations for games as well. City Park repairs, thanks to the construction crew at the City of Salem, we have a new parking lot at the entrance of the park for the T-ball parking lot. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks really nice. Hopefully soon, on the next budget year, we can look at doing the pool parking lot. Will have to be after season, of course, but that's another upgrade that's desperately needed. The railing has been installed at both sets of steps, and I don't know if you have been to any ball games or any events at the Armory and had to use those steps, but they're heavily used, and I've seen lots of people using them. So the rails are up, and they are being utilized. Security cameras went out for bid. Jonathan with the PD helped a lot to get those bids out because he knew what the PD needed for them to be able to view the footage live and get quick response to the park. That bid's been approved. Rommel Locke has been awarded the project, and he said that this project should be wrapped up by the end of this budget year. And talking with him about the cameras, it sounds like it's a pretty neat system to where when people come into the park, it flashes red and blue, kind of gets you to look up and be like, what's that light? And in that process, it takes a picture of who you are. So it's kind of a neat little thing to be able to capture people and know who's in the park. From what I understand, you can also talk via the camera, so that'll help with some of the riffraff at night. If they see somebody in there, they can be like, excuse me, what are you doing in here? And I think after they do that a few times, that it should calm down. So that is my hope, and I'm excited about that. Billy's Playground, again, we're working with FEMA repairs on the fence, getting them completed. The fence is broken, and people report that to me often. We have not removed it because it is a barrier still yet between the playground and the water, the creek. So we have lots of little kids that play on that, and removing it completely, I just don't feel like it's safer with it being wobbly and up versus not being there at all. Then, let's see.
Can I pause you real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry. So I have a quick question on the Billy's Playground. We've talked about it previously. On the swings, the whole bar was twisting.
Yes, they went to
Was that
look at
supposed
it.
to happen?
He said it's secure.
Okay.
And we go there and fix that particular swing set often because people climb up it and undo the chains and
Yeah.
twist it and turn it upside down.
Okay. I just wasn't sure, and maybe it's supposed to. I don't know, but I just thought, or just
They
wanted
said
to
they
check
went
in
and
on-
checked on it and it was sound.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see, Alice Lou Craig Municipal Swimming Pool. I talked to the Alderman about this. There's some rumors flying around that it's not opening. I don't know why, or maybe it was just because somebody was like, has anybody heard? I heard the pool's not, whatever. Go to the source is my solution to that. But we are de-winterizing on May 5th. Landmark Aquatics will be coming down to do that. And then the water department is working to fix an autofill for us. And then the pool opening is scheduled for May 23rd. But as always, I say weather permitting because we have no idea what the weather. If it's warm, we open. If it's not warm, we will not open. It becomes a risk. Then creek erosion, thanks to the street department, they've started the process of working on doing the FEMA riprap. I think they got some rock out there on it yesterday before it rained. That's going to be a process. It's been a little bit delayed because of the weather and the rain, but also they were made aware there wasn't any riprap rock, but then they went out there and looked and there is riprap rock. That's a lot to say. So they're going to try to be working on that project so we can get that wrapped up also. And as always, reservations for pavilions, please call the city administration office at 729-4811 and then select utilities, and then they get that information to me. Some really exciting stuff is we've set the date for the Salem Mo Spectacular. I don't think I had announced that yet, so we are going to do it. It will be October 24th this year. We have reached out to the chamber, and Catherine Nguyen is going to be helping us this year. She'll be our third person, which will be so helpful because it's a lot for two people. So we're excited to get that started again, and we're talking about bringing music in this year. It may not be really big names, but it'll be I think it'll be something that people want to come see, and another added thing to make the event just a little bit bigger than it has been in the past. So that'll be good. And if anybody wants to be a fence banner sponsorship, just get a hold of me if any businesses or anybody wants to support us in that capacity. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Any questions? I rattled through it really fast so we can get to the budget, but
I just had a comment. The Billy's Playground, I think last time I had mentioned to you that the ship wasn't rocking, it was all, and you got a hold of somebody and your team fixed it. So somebody came up to me the other day and said, hey, the ship is fixed, thank you, and sent me a message. And
yes.
I was like, well, it's not
I'm
me,
glad to hear.
it's your guys' team. So good job.
Also, did the cone get returned?
I don't think so. Oh, you got your
Yeah,
cones?
I got my
Oh,
cones
okay.
back. Thanks.
Thank you for marking it.
Yeah, that's a good comment. There was, you guys, they put in more gravel, it looks like. I imagine that the culvert could have a hole in it. I doubt that's been repaired completely,
Okay.
so we'll need to keep an eye on it. This is the gravel towards the pavilion closest to the batting cages. There was a hole that was formed in the gravel, and yeah, James found it, lives close to the park, so, and then he put some cones up, and then somebody jumped on it within 24 hours and got it fixed. But the fact that it had gravel pulled away from underneath, it leads me to believe that the culvert that runs from Park Place Drive down to the batting cage area, that culvert that runs under that area possibly has a hole in it and could be compromised. So we just got to keep an eye on it. If not, maybe we're lucky and it's not that. So,
Okay.
but
I will mention that to them because I asked him if he knew why it.
I think they just filled
perhaps,
it,
yeah.
but yeah.
With larger rock and then smaller rock to.
Oh,
finish
then
out, as we
maybe
said.
we'll fix it. So.
So.
All right, very good. Thank you, Melissa, for the director's report. And we're going to move into the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was, I don't know the date. March 11th.
Yeah, there's two sets, March 11th and March 16th. To be approved.
Okay. The March 11th and the March 15th park board minutes to be approved will need
Yeah.
a motion.
I make a motion that we approve both the March 11th and March 16th
Oh.
minutes as written.
Okay, we'll need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved, minutes approved for the 11th and the 16th of March. Very good. Okay, we'll move into the, the budget review and approval. We're going to defer back to you all over there.
First, we'll look at the CIP that we have. We do have a 5-year CIP capital improvement plan. So these numbers have come from Melissa and these projects. So I don't think it's have this slide in your packet, but
Might be at the end.
the leases and debts, that is the COP payment. That's the loans that we took out in 2017 to redo the pool and the playground. And then I'm going to let Melissa discuss the projects themselves.
So I have included my CIP packet in there with you. It's separate, and I apologize for it not being in the packet. Some things that I had looked into doing to the park this year, or revamping the park a little bit this year. The first one you'll see is a mural project for the Alice Luke Craig Municipal Swimming Pool. Since I've been there, and even before, it's never had a name or anything identifying it on the exterior. And I've been working with a local artist with some ideas, and she has gotten back with me on potential cost for this, and has also agreed to take some of the payment out with what's the word I'm looking for? Their kids are in sport and stuff, so it'd be like a trade a little bit. We would still owe, but it would take some of the, it wouldn't be as expensive for us because we'd be trading some of the resources we have that they would benefit from, which I think is awesome. I think it would be a bright spot in our community, and it would draw people to our community with a bright, vibrant painting of the exterior and the front of the building. I don't know if you go to other communities, but other communities are starting to do it, and they're popping up other places. And they're starting to be like places that draw people to that community just for murals. So that's something that I would like to do. Dustin has requested a portable storage unit to keep our ball equipment in. Currently, our ball equipment is in our big park and rec shop. It is not, it's airtight, but the doors are open quite often. Lots of grass, debris, creepy crawlies, all the things get into our equipment for our kids, our helmets and all that stuff. We'd like to keep it separate, that way it can stay cleaner and less debris with it. If we ever have a situation where we have a different building or something, the portable unit can still be utilized or sold. It wouldn't be a permanent fixture. They've estimated that at $3,600. This is a big one too. I know a lot of stuff is to the pool. I feel like that's where I live all summer long, and my kids that work there do too. If you ever come to the pool and you're in the entryway at all, if it rains, it's wet in there. If it's windy, papers fly around everywhere. But the main thing is it gets so hot that we have to have the doors open for some type of draft, even with fans and everything going. It gets really, really hot. We have no cooling station in there other than the concession area, which wouldn't really be a safe place if somebody needed to go in there and rest. You're not going to want them in there with your food. We also have a really big fly problem, like extreme fly problem in there. We use some of the farm grade stuff. I don't like spraying chemicals, especially with all my guards being barefoot all the time. I don't want them absorbing chemicals and then later on finding out that it causes some issue. So I really try not to use really harsh chemicals. They use a salt gun, and there is salt everywhere. It gets very annoying. But we would like to move forward in closing that area and closing the pool house. That way also, it's not only for, there's multiple reasons. We also have lots of little kids, and we have to have all of our doors open all the time. Sometimes little guys get away from their parents, and we've had to have people run out and get kids out of the park, like that are heading into the parking lot, because there isn't a definite stopping point. Does that make sense? Because the door is open and they can just run right out. We would like to enclose that area and be able to air condition it moving forward. Anybody have any questions about that? Has anybody ever worked at the pool? You have? You can experience it then, yeah. We do have a separate area now, like I don't know when you worked there. We have now where the guards have a little bit of privacy for a break room. Before they didn't have that, so that's been very helpful, but it's all just really open. And if it's cold out, it's really cold. If it's raining, everything's getting wet. It would just be nice to have a closed entrance, especially if we're doing swimming lessons and we can't have somebody up front all the time, then you can be like closed for swimming lessons or something to that effect, to where there's a barrier. That's estimated at $20,000.
Okay, so I got a question.
Yes.
Is that, you're referring to from walking outside up to the front desk? Or are you talking about closing off somehow that front area?
Yes.
Or the desk area?
No, the front area. It would be hard to just do that one part. I think if we did everything excluding the changing rooms. So you know how they have you go into a meat locker, there's like plastic curtains hanging down? Mm-hmm. I envision something of that sort so people can walk in and out, but it would still keep a cooler temperature in. And I'm not saying cold because that's too much. It just needs to be a cooler environment. And also a way to kind of keep kids contained and bugs out, like just multiple reasons.
Yeah. Have you seen or heard of, or anybody here, another community pool having the same enclosure to the front of the?
I've not seen any pool design like ours.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't go to a lot of other communities to swim either.
I'm just having a hard time wrapping my mind around it. Yeah.
So what I want to do, my vision is to put a glass front where the garage doors are. So replacing garage doors with a glass front and a pull door, like a business.
Oh,
a
okay.
Business entrance.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then we already have doors on the back side, and we have cameras. So we can shut those back doors to traffic. They can open and close them freely, but we have cameras that see out. We don't have to have those doors open all the time.
Okay.
But it would basically be enclosing that front area and then getting AC unit for
Okay.
that portion.
Okay. I think I can see it now, sort of.
I don't have a mock-up of it, but there is like a single car garage door, basically, is what it's covering.
Okay. Got it. And
And then the last thing that I really want to get replaced is our zip line, our Aqua Zip feature has some, they've upgraded things for it and found out different and better ways to do things. So the pad that we have there currently is dry rot, and they've actually moved to a different design that's a thicker pad that actually goes over the concrete, then steps down again to protect that whole drainage area to prevent kids from hitting it with a body part. If you've been to the Aqua Zip line, you know that it's like a 6-foot run, and if kids slip, you don't want them hitting that edge of that metal or that concrete, which has happened before, and we don't like that. So that is an estimate. I've reached back out to get an updated estimate from them because it's been a minute since we've had that, and I'm waiting to get that new estimate from them. But those are some of the things that I would like to do moving forward for this year, just to bring some life to the area, the park. You guys can agree, disagree.
Did you talk about the splash pad?
They were paving. Full parking lot.
Oh, I didn't print that one out, sorry, I went through my skip. So we talk about, so I have a big, long thing of CIPs, and we have CIPs and we have markers for like pool pumps, lawn mowers, trucks, that we set out, but it's a marker there that we need to be reserving funds for these types of things. We had talked about, this was in the CIP last year, I believe, but we decided to move forward with the T-ball parking lot first. The estimate was $210,000 or $220,000 from a contractor. And then we decided that we would work with the city of Salem, and the construction crew did that for us for less than half of that. So we're looking to do the pool parking lot also. It's quite crumbly. So that's also in this budget to use the construction crew again to do this second parking lot.
Is that like, so we see that in the pool parking repaving future placeholder of the 83,400 that you have over the next 3 years? Is that kind of reflecting what you think is cost, or is that?
No, that was with the contractor doing it.
Okay.
If we just.
This is like the
use
original
city-
CIP,
Yep.
okay.
If we just do the city, it will probably be less than the 83.4.
So that 83.4, that was when you guys are like, hey, we want to go replace it, and we all agreed, hey, CIP, this is a good idea. Let's replace the like T-ball parking lot. And then you're like, okay, let's go and double check with the city. And it was like, oh, you guys saved half the budget or more based off of choosing to use the
And
city
this was
to do it.
pushing it out, doing a third of that parking lot.
'Cause so
for
much.
doing a third of it for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they said, increased so much
Yeah.
from the first time, and we broke that down into 3, but, yeah, we would take the other 2 off if we move forward, and the city's capable of doing it.
So
Or able to do it.
When you think of full like usage of concrete work at the park and at the facilities, do you feel like once we complete at the pool, let's say we do it in this coming year, do you feel like then you're at a good place, or what's the next? Like, or do you see like a capital expenditure
Yeah,
like
no, I
yearly
see,
for?
like, if we leave it in there, we can totally use it because we need a new road into the park.
Okay.
If you've been back there, especially around the Circle Drive area.
Yeah,
it's
it's crumbling
It's
away.
crumbling apart, and we need to upgrade that.
Okay.
For sure.
And I think that's kind of a interesting comment, like what we had planned just to fix the T-ball field parking. You guys I think it's a good plan for us to keep in our budget for the future. And if it ends up being that we get the city park in perfect condition associated to parking and all of the driving, then we can move on to Al Brown or whatever facility next. But that capital expenditure that we plan to just do T-ball, I think has kind of set, our hearts a little bit okay with that expense. Now we can set a precedent to keep our facilities set well for the next 10 years easily. And then
Yeah, that small
then we get away
upgrade
from it.
I think it made a huge difference to the entrance of our park.
People already have been commenting, oh, it's so nice that like this parking lot feels structured now too. So, good. Yeah, so you don't have the reflection of the last item in your CIPs, which was the splash pad. I think ever since you kind of brought that up, for me, that's been, not that it's a matter of my opinion, but that's been like a highlight in my mind. And the expense is not what I expected it to be. I thought it to be much more than that.
Yes, and I missed that one here. Yes, I skipped over that one. So they're wanting to upgrade the splash pad plumbing, which I agree with it because it just recirculates the water that it has, and this would be a
Yes.
backwash system.
This is something, though, that would be on the next year's capital expenditures.
Yes.
Is when the pool people come to go and de-winterize, is there an opportunity for them to look at that? Or like, do you already know this cost, or how does that?
We have not, the estimate that we got, this is a smaller scale backwash system. So we've actually been talking to the pool company out of Rolla
Okay.
that we buy some of our supplies from, and then they really help us troubleshoot with smaller things, so we don't have to call the big pool company to come down.
I
It's much more feasible.
mean, for me, that's a big one. I think the expense is small compared to the overall budget. I think that's a big community thing we should focus on.
Yes. And
If
then
we
it's
could do it as soon as
measurable.
possible,
Yeah.
I would want to.
But just those are the things I put in the CIP. You guys can talk about them, discuss, ask me questions.
I know you have quite a few other ones that are like in your goals, like future goals. This reflects what you're focused on for 2027 mostly. I mean, I know you got other stuff that's out there for Al Brown equipment replacement and things like that. We've met all expenses associated to I think the last item for the FEMA portion of work was that fence around Billy's Playground.
It's the creek and the fence.
Oh, okay. Is the fence, can you give an update on it? I know it's kind of outside of this topic, but
Yes.
can you give us an update on?
They're making it now. I
Okay.
actually talked to her today because they get messages every Monday, let's wrap this up. So I reached out today to see where they were on it, and they said they're building it now.
Okay, so that July 1st is,
Yes.
we're going to get it, right? I mean, it sounds like that's like the highest priority
Yes.
items, right? Financially, is to get those items complete
And get
in
them
FEMA.
reimbursed. Yes.
Okay. When does the CIP items, like, so today, you're bringing these up for our attention. We're, as a board, I mean, I don't have much for comment associated to the specifics of them, but if there's other ones, what is the time frame for whenever you're attempting to present this to the Board of Aldermen? Is it like, hey, this is the next step, once you guys we're good with this and go for it, or where are you guys at?
We have to have the full budget approved by the end of June.
Okay.
So you guys have to approve your budgets prior to that.
Okay,
Then
so
it goes before the finance committee, right? And then the finance committee
Yeah.
will review it and approve it.
So is today's meeting the purpose of, I mean, is this a first pass, just, hey, bring your attention to it, and we will meet again before?
It's up
Or
to
is
you
it-
all. If you approve your budget tonight, you don't have to meet again, but if you want to review and make changes, then we can have another meeting.
Yeah, and, I mean, I, as a discussion point, I would prefer to look over it a little bit more. I did look over it, but I think we've only had it for about 24 hours. I'd like to take a gander at it a little bit more, make sure, there's a couple of, like, I have a couple of questions about, like, the theater and things like that. There's some of that information that was, like, the theater changing outside of Parks and Rec. Can you give comment on that?
Yes, Sally had determined that the Civic Theater, once we finally get it up and going, it needs to probably have its own fund and be out of Parks Fund.
Okay. Good. Hey, and I think that's, this theater is very different tasking than Melissa's job
Right.
description, at least what it had
Yeah,
been.
I think
so.
she'll have a big part in
Still
it still.
helping with getting all the stuff, but it just won't be. a
But I think the
budget.
funds won't run through the Parks Department.
Okay. And so that was like the major item. I guess we're seeing it now on this budget highlight.
Right. So, yeah, so revenues and expenditures, you'll see decrease due to taking those items out of the parks budget. Because there was a revenue, planned revenues, and then also planned expenditures.
And I think from my perspective, I mean, I'm good if it gets called to a vote for it, but I would love to, not that I want to have tons and tons of meetings, but I'd like to look over the budget some more, understand, because what we are presenting, I know that from a revenue perspective, you know, what you guys budget is like what you believe we take in is conservative from previous years. You know, what's kind of projected, like, I mean, I guess right now what we're seeing for our overall revenue, let me make sure I'm looking at this correctly, is you're projecting a 739K projection.
We're kind of holding sales tax kind of steady. I don't anticipate any increases, or we hope there's no major decline. Of course, that depends on the economy. As of right now, we are seeing a 2% increase over last year, but so I decided, unless you all think differently, just kind of holding sales tax kind of flat.
I guess, you know, when we're trying to do these, and that's perfect, that makes a lot of sense. But when we go and reflect back to the past 2 years, the miscellaneous charge associated to 2024, 2025, not charge, the miscellaneous revenue.
Revenues, yeah.
What's the
So in 24,
150,000?
25, 186,000, the big portion of that was a insurance reimbursement for when the pool was damaged.
Okay, that was the original insurance piece, not the FEMA portion of it.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And we also see the capital or is it the capital improvements in that same year of 575,000
Would have been the
associated to pool
expense,
costs?
yeah.
Okay, very good.
And then in this year, it's not, well, it'll be in the amended budget, but we are anticipating the FEMA reimbursement.
Very good.
So that's why the 250,000 in that miscellaneous line is
Yep.
in this budget year, but going forward, it will not be.
Perfect, okay. And we also see that capital improvements okay, that makes sense. The capital improvements expenditure was that 283,000 for the amended budget for this year. That's associated to the addition of expenses.
A portion
for
of it,
FEMA
a
work.
lot of those FEMA expenses, the large ones, actually hit in last budget year.
Okay,
And that's why we came in like $100,000 to a deficit, which we ended up using prior year funds to cover that. But that's why. But now we have, if you look in the projected column, we're projecting to bring in 194,000 surplus. So even though we was a deficit last year, we kind of make it up this year due to the FEMA reimbursements.
okay.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely, makes sense. Total money that's in current balance, where does that show?
Okay, if you look at the very bottom of the slide that's on the screen,
Yes, ma'am.
so if the projected year end, we're looking at finishing this year at 831,000.
Yes, ma'am, okay.
So based upon what we've got budgeted, we will end next budget year at around 771,000
Okay,
as it sits now. With revenues and expenditures, we're showing a deficit of 60,000. So we can determine, if we want to cut expenses, if we want to cut a capital project, or use your fund balance. I mean, you've got quite a bit sitting there, so.
okay. So just want to make sure it's clear for the board, as we continue forward reviewing, the current budget is proposing a deficit against what is expected of $60,000, which then reflects, if at the end of this year, fiscal year, we're going to have 830,000, the estimate would be that in next year's end of fiscal year, it'd be 770,000. I think there's a lot here to consume, a lot to review. I do like the capital improvements that you've laid out. I'd like to go and review some of the other information that makes up all of our expenditures.
So that 60,000
That's right.
deficit will actually be less because in my capital improvements that I had, I still had $20,000 plugged in for a mower, which we ended up moving it out, I think 2 more years, which was 20,000, and plus the security camera, we didn't know if it was going to happen in this year or next year. Rommel was saying it will be done in this budget year, so we can take 15,000 out of the budget year. So it'll be about 35,000 out of less in our expenditures. So instead of a $60,000 deficit, it'd be more like a $25,000
Great.
deficit.
Okay. Okay. If there is a call for request here, I can only speak for myself. I would like to go and review some more, but I also am open to whatever the board would like to do as well. So that would force another meeting, of course. So
Does any other board members have an opinion on that? I don't think it's a bad idea. You need to have more time to review the budget. Okay. So we'll just need a motion. Do you want to make that motion, Luke?
I don't think there is a need for a motion
Oh.
from my perspective. The call would be if there's a motion to approve the budget as it reads. While I don't disagree with the budget, I don't want to call for it.
Got it.
I would like to review it a little bit more, but that's my opinion. So. And I mean, from a board perspective, you guys did all the work. I mean, this is perfect. This is how we would want to see it. I think we just want to make sure that we're just not missing anything. And I'm just not capable of going through it that quickly. I did look over it a little bit last night, but I had a few questions and you guys answered them. So I just need a little bit more time maybe to review a little bit more.
Okay.
So.
Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about any of the items or.
Thank you, yeah. And really, this is the call, is that we'll have to reconvene again in the coming, 3 to 6 months, or 3 to 6 weeks before.
It'll need to
Yes,
be
we-
before May 14th, because there's a joint finance committee meeting that day, and this will need to be completed before then.
Okay, so we don't need to make a motion to approve, we can just, because obviously if you don't make a motion, we can't approve. So we'll just move it to the next item of the agenda. All right, so if there's no other questions or comments concerning the budget report, then we'll move into the next item of the agenda. So I'll give you guys a moment to share if there's anything. Nothing? Okay.
Can
All
we
right.
set a date for that next meeting?
I can't, not for me. I can't set a date right away.
I mean, I can do it at any point. I mean, I just need
Okay.
more than 24 hours to review it.
One in June to finalize the finance committee.
They don't need our information.
We prefer, like I said, before our final meeting in June, we'll have to have it. Before when that one is scheduled.
And if everybody else is comfortable, don't let me hold up your guys' perspective. If you've read through the budget and you believe that you're in a good place with it, that's good. I imagine it is good. I just don't have enough perspective yet. And within a week, I can have that perspective. The big thing is, we are spending $25,000, which is way better than the $60,000. And when we see the fund balance, we have a large fund balance. In my perspective over the past 2 weeks or 2 years has been, hey, we're trying to get through the FEMA problems, trying to get through the problems that we've had with the hailstorm and the damage to the flooding. Once we got through all of that, then we can really start focusing on what we're doing with the $750,000 that are in the account, So that way we can, look at the old fairgrounds site, we can make improvements to make pickleball courts or whatever the item might be, we can go do those things.
We
What-
ultimately need to have a 5-year plan.
Yes, absolutely. But it's also difficult to make, and the capital improvements are perfect. And I want to do those things, but I also want to make sure that the $750,000 doesn't go very far when it's setting up a new park or setting up a large major improvement of a facility. If we're continually making the small improvements, which I appreciate because I want our park to be great, it's just difficult to make those huge improvements whenever we're consuming what we have budgeted and planned.
Once we get the 5-year plan in place, it'll be easier to apply for
Project
grant
it.
funding, and then move forward from there to do the larger projects.
Okay. And then from that same comment and perspective is that if we want to keep doing the capital improvements because we have to maintain our park, and I think that is perfect, and that's why I'm all for it. I just want to make sure that we're not over-consuming when we went so many years of that fund balance increasing before we've had these problems with hail and flooding. And now the past couple of years, we've been stagnant because we are kind of going through the FEMA problems and all those other things. And to start consuming it, I just don't want us to start projecting future of not having any money for whenever we go and apply for a major grant that needs 50% matching or something like that. But that doesn't mean that I'm saying that, I don't approve the budget. I just want to make sure I have that perspective. And even the idea of it being 60,000 out of 25,000 makes a difference. So all that to be said, if the board wants to call for a vote, I'm not against it. I mean, these are all just also projections of what we want. If things change, it's not easy, but you can go and request to make amendments to budgets as we move forward. So I'm not against the vote, so.
I don't think, I can't speak for everybody else, but I don't think it's an issue to set a date at some point to give us some time to look at the budget without approving it tonight. I don't think that's an issue. I think it's a good idea. I think it's smart, and I think we should. I think we should consider looking over the budget, making sure that everything's good and in order. And
I think we would like more time, but I do think next week is ideal for scheduling because I know towards the end of school for myself and then vacation time starting. It would
Yep.
probably, if we can
I just
do that next
I
week.
don't want to spend 15 minutes looking at my calendar right now. But if you guys have a day, and Wednesdays aren't great, but I could try to make them work. But if you guys just have a specific, if everybody else but me can have a date, I can see what I can do, and we'll just
Yeah.
go from there.
Let's
If
try
we do
to,
next week, Thursday is already occupied with a meeting here.
Tuesday.
okay. Let's try to
Is
meet.
Tuesday available?
Okay.
Or what'd you?
I was just gonna do it right after session got completed, so that way we're not hitting, but we can do it right now.
Oh, it's a,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can wait. We don't need to waste anybody else's time either.
I can do any day next week, so.
Okay. All right, so we won't make a motion on the approval of the budget. We'll move into the 4th of July committee use of park and time capsule request. Do you want to give some information on that?
I don't have a lot of information, I just know that they would like to use the park that day. But I don't have anything formal writing. Are you still on that committee? I am not. You're not on the committee. Kayla Cisco had approached me asking me if we would still be okay with them because they're wanting to have vendors in the park. And they're also wanting to do a time capsule to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. And it would be a 35-year time capsule, I believe is what she mentioned. And if we'd be okay with that in our park.
Yeah, Well, based off of what was done last year in the park and the way that brings the community together, I'm assuming it's the same time frame, same day, same plans that we would have. With that, I mean, I would make a motion to approve the usage of the park for the 4th of July committee for the fireworks display for the city of Salem, and the use of the time capsule be planted in the park, of course, with approval from Melissa in location and how it gets set.
We'll need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay. I think we're through the agenda, unless anybody has any other comments, questions, concerns. I can't say we're not going to make a motion on anything on here. I apologize. When I said we won't make a motion, that's up to you guys. Obviously, I can't say whether or not we can or not. So if you guys want to make a motion, go ahead before we adjourn.
Okay, I don't have anything additional, so I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting for today.
Oh,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, thank you, guys.